Detective James Parker was known for his sharp mind and unbreakable focus. He had solved many complicated cases, but none were as strange as this one. It began on a cold, foggy morning when he received a call from a wealthy estate outside the city. "A man is dead," the voice on the phone had said. "We need you right away." When Parker arrived at the mansion, a butler greeted him with a pale face and trembling hands. "Please follow me, sir," he whispered. "The crime scene is in the study." The study was large, filled with shelves of books and expensive furniture. In the middle of the room lay a man's body, slumped over a desk. A gun was in his hand, and a single bullet had pierced his heart. "Mr. Richard Gray," the butler explained. "He was the master of this house." Parker examined the scene carefully. The gun in Gray's hand made it look like a suicide, but something didn't feel right. There was no note, and the gun seemed too clean. He noticed a glass of wine on the desk. He sniffed it and frowned. "Did Mr. Gray have any visitors last night?" Parker asked. "Yes," said the butler. "Dr. Emily White, his personal doctor and a family friend, Mr. Alan Reed." "Where are they now?" "In the drawing room. I can take you to them." Parker nodded. "One more thing," he said, pointing to a painting on the wall behind the desk. "That picture is crooked. Did anyone touch it?" The butler shook his head. "Not that I know of, sir." The detective straightened the painting and saw a small safe hidden behind it. He opened it with his tools and found a collection of letters inside. Each one was addressed to Mr. Gray and signed E. W. Parker took the letters and went to the drawing room. Dr. White was a calm, composed woman in her early 40s. Mr. Reed was nervous, avoiding eye contact. "Dr. White, what was your relationship with Mr. Gray?" Parker asked. "We were old friends," she said smoothly. "I was also his physician. He had been feeling unwell lately." "And you, Mr. Reed?" I was his business partner," Reed stammered. "We had disagreements, but I would never hurt him." Parker studied them both carefully. Then he pulled out the letters. "Dr. White, do these belong to you?" he asked, showing her the signature. Her eyes flickered for a moment, but her face remained calm. "Yes," she admitted. "They were private letters. Personal matters." "What kind of personal matters?" I was in love with Richard," she whispered. "But he didn't love me back." Parker turned to Reed. "Did you know about this?" Reed clenched his fists. "Yes," he hissed. "She was obsessed with him. When he rejected her, she lost control." "That's a lie," Dr. White exclaimed. "I would never harm him." "Enough," Parker said firmly. "The truth will come out soon." He returned to the study to examine the scene again. The glass of wine caught his attention. He sent it for analysis, suspecting poison. Then he noticed something else, a faint smudge on the handle of the gun. He dusted it for fingerprints. There were 2 sets, Mr. Gray's and someone else's. Hours later, the report confirmed his suspicions. The wine was laced with a rare, deadly poison, and the fingerprints on the gun belonged to Mr. Alan Reed. Parker confronted Reed with the evidence. "You poisoned him and staged the scene to look like a suicide." "Why?" Reed broke down, sobbing. "He was going to cut me out of the business. I was desperate. I didn't mean to kill him. I just wanted him to suffer a little. But he grabbed the gun, and things went too far." "And the letters?" Parker asked. "I found them in his safe and thought they would shift suspicion onto Dr. White," Reed admitted. "I was scared." Parker sighed. "The truth always comes out, Mr. Reed." Reed was arrested, and Dr. White was cleared of suspicion. As he left the mansion, Parker reflected on the case. Every clue had been there, waiting to be uncovered: the crooked painting, the poisoned wine, and the hidden letters. Crime may be silent, he thought, but it always leaves behind a trail for those who listen closely.